is the podcast where we talk to teachers and find out about what it takes for them to show up every day to teach tomorrow's humanity, or today's humanity, tomorrow's leaders. And today I have a very special guest. Today we have Mrs. Tobi Harris, right? See, I was going to say Tobi Good, but because I went to school with the wonderful Tobi, we were actually we were winners of the 1994 State Shakespeare Drama Festival, which began my lifelong passion for Shakespeare. Welcome, Tobi.
Thank you, Jo.
It's great to have you here. And actually, I forget how many of my friends are teachers. And I was just having a casual chat with Tobi the other night, and, you know, we were connecting and catching up. And then Tobi started to tell me some of the stories about her teaching, and I was like, oh, you have to come on my podcast because Tobi's going to give us a really great perspective on teaching in the regions and rural New South Wales. So thank you, Tobi, for coming on.
My pleasure.
So let's start with where you are now. Where are you teaching right now, and where are you living right now?
Okay, I live obviously in regional New South Wales. I live down a very long dirt road. And I can't see a neighbour for miles and miles.
Wow.
I live kind of in between Tamworth and Wauchope, I suppose, at the top of the Great Dividing Range.
Yeah.
And 2 days a week I'm at a central school, and I'm doing the COVID intensive learning groups with the secondary students there. And the other 2 days a week I'm working at the local primary school with 8 beautiful students. And I'm mainly doing creative arts as well as some literacy and numeracy with them.
So this is your first foray into the primary school teaching, right, Tobi? Yeah. So how's that going?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. What do you love about it?
I love that. And I think it's nice actually having the balance, because secondary is where I feel very comfortable, and all of my career has been in that realm. But the energy and the enthusiasm, I suppose, that I met with in a primary school is on those days I come home so tired but so happy and so fulfilled, I suppose, that there's a real reciprocal, you know, everything you give, they're going to give you twice as much back, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what because I've last couple of years gone into the primary school space as well, and that's what I find, it's this enthusiasm. And I wonder, is it just an age thing that when they get to secondary school, or is it there's a different way of teaching, do you think, in the primary? Like, is it us or is it them? Like, what happens in the secondary space, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. It must be to do a little bit with kind of hormones and with, you know, that need to belong, and you know, school isn't always cool for teenagers. So I think there's those challenges. Yeah, I don't know. I think, and do you know what I love too about primary? You know, we'll do, dance or whatever. And for some reason, I feel more comfortable dancing along with or singing along with in primary school. Like, it's like we're all getting in, having a good time, and I don't have to worry that, I can just be a lot more kind of open and,
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's a strange, you know, I sometimes wonder whether it's, you know, where we feel more comfortable playing, you know, with primary school kids, and secondary we, you know, just the way society's set up, it's like we stop playing or something. Once they hit year 7, there's no more playtime. It's serious.
Yeah, I guess so. Which is such a shame. But
except in the drama classroom, though, Tobi.
Of course.
essential play.
Yeah.
And the other school, your LSO at, right? Is that what you said? At the school?
So it's a new role this year. So last year, because everyone lost all that time, there's been funding for schools to do small group interventions. So the schools choose who they want to target, and then they do, groups of between 3 to 5, small group intensive, and it's, the schools kind of can choose who the students are and what the focus is. And so the school that I'm working at, it's a literacy and a numeracy focus, but with those little small groups, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and how far behind did students get? I mean, in New South Wales, I think it was only 5 weeks or so, really, where we missed that face-to-face. But it seems to have had a huge impact on the students.
Yeah, and I suppose it's hard for me because it's a new role for me this year and I'm in a new school. I don't know the students, and I can't see that kind of gap that's there, and I'm relying on the staff that are there to help me out to sort of to see what the gap is and to try and sort of address that in the small groups. I don't know, from my perspective, even those 5 weeks at home, and I'm on my computer teaching my classes at school, and I've got 3 school-age sons at home, and it was very hard to manage that.
Oh, it was, I mean, we did it for a couple of days and then I said to the school, we're not doing it, right? I'll get them to read. They're not doing any work. It was because I was still working. And
same.
That's right. And my husband's business, because he's in the music industry, just was collapsing. It was too, and, lots of other families would have been in the same situation. Our whole lives just flipped, and so we're dealing with, as parents, our own stuff that's going on, plus then as teachers, you've got your own parents, as you say, you've got your boys at home, and you haven't been there that long, in where you live now. So that would have been like everything just changed, and to expect any outcome, I think I don't know, we gave up.
Well, and I think like a lot of families too, like it was hard enough for us, and I'm a teacher, and my kids, they were having a go. They were trying and, getting distracted, but still trying. And, but, I was working with kids, and they're, with 4 siblings at home and 1 computer, so there was just a real gap. And especially out here, the internet is like, I'm on satellite internet now. The gap seemed bigger out here. And the school was, and this was a different school that I was at last year, but they were taking little internet dongles to students' homes.
Wow.
The principal and the deputy principal was visiting homes, and and they were the laptops from school, they were giving those out to the students who didn't have access to technology, so that they could join in on the lessons and stuff. So
that's just incredible, isn't it, what schools did? Because in another earlier podcast, an assistant principal was saying that's what they just had to get. They had to get their computers, because they were in a school in Campbelltown. So they just had to they didn't have computers at home even. So they were just giving students computers, and as you say, internet access. The assumption that we'd just go online like that was just, I think, a bit, in hindsight.
And I still remember that first, we had a staff meeting via Zoom, and and it was like, well, we're starting today, and hey, get on and get those classes happening. And we all go, oh my goodness. But we did it. We all did it. We're pretty amazing.
And I think that's what, for me, because I'm a trained drama teacher like you, and I have been saying for years at work, give me training. I want to, embrace online. How do I teach online? How do I teach drama online? and had tried to look for resources, hadn't really found anything, but to be honest, didn't really look that hard. And then all of a sudden I had a week, they said, well, all classes are going online. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do it now. So it's amazing what you can come up with when the pressure is there, or when you have to.
Yep. And we all had to, and everyone did it.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Amazing. So let's go back to the beginning, Tobi. Why did you decide to become a teacher?
It was kind of by accident, Jo. I did, when I left school, I worked in Sydney. I was a secretary. I was doing classes at it used to be there, and then performing arts, doing creative arts. I was a little bit lost, and a friend recommended that I go into teaching, and he was doing teaching in, there in Campbelltown.
Yeah.
So then I enrolled, and I did my drama out at Nepean, and I did my the English and the sort of all the pedagogy and stuff at Bankstown.
Yeah, right. So Western, what we now call Western Sydney University. And so drama teaching, how was that? Tell me a bit about why. Well, Tobi and I were in, we had the best drama teacher ever, don't you think? Miss
Yes.
Barbara Van Kessel. So was she some influence, do you think, on, making the decision to be a drama teacher?
Oh, definitely. I know that she, I always had an interest in drama even as a little kid. But she challenged us.
Yes.
And she believed in us, and she helped us, reach those heights. And for us, and for you and I, especially in that Shakespeare, in that competition, like what a wonderful thing to experience. And that was, that wouldn't have been possible without her.
Yeah, 100%. I've got goosebumps remembering, the three of us, me, you and Joanne, the three of us, creating our little witches and Macbeth scene. And as you say, I mean, and we didn't expect to win, did we? Like, we had no idea how good what we had created was.
Yeah, and I even we've recently moved, and I found, I don't know if you remember, Barbara made us each a little like porcelain, like a little clay kind of figurine, each of a witch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she gave us each one, and I found it when I moved. And I was like, oh,
wow.
Yeah, like really special memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you started drama teaching, where was your first job?
So I was in the Campbelltown area, and I was the first trained drama teacher that had been there in a long time.
Wow, really?
So it was like, make the programs, do the scope and sequence, So as a first year out, that was huge. But I loved it, and I got Bill Shakespeare did a little program with us, and we did with my year 9 or year 10 class. We did, someone came out from Bell every sort of week to work with us, and we did a really great program with them. So that was really good for my confidence as well. So yeah, I sort of built it as best as I could, really, as a beginning teacher, but I felt really proud of that. And then it felt like a big deal to me. Yeah, and then we moved up to the coast, and I was sort of fluctuating between English and drama and religion, and then I became the only drama teacher. Well, sorry, not the only drama teacher, but sort of the main drama teacher there, and found myself in a role of leadership and of budgeting and all that sort of stuff for drama, which was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that's great. So were you the only drama teacher there, or did you have other teachers teaching drama?
There were actually like 5 in our school, but not all. Well, yeah, there was heaps.
Yeah, right.
But not all of them were teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not all of them were teaching drama.
Not all of them were teaching drama. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was just going to say, often as a drama teacher, you find you're the only one.
Yes.
Most schools would only have one, maybe two. Like, there are specialist performing arts schools, sure, that would have a bit more of a team. But generally, high schools would have, one, if we're lucky, one drama teacher, maybe two. So you're kind of often by yourself and, really have to create that drama community yourself, really.
Yeah, and I was very lucky, even though I had all that support from the people in my own schools. In that Port Macquarie area, we had a really good cross-school, government as well as Catholic as well as private. We had a really good collegiate there.
Yeah.
But also I used to love going down to the Drama in New South Wales, the conferences, which is where we connected after all those years.
Yeah.
In that big, wider community of drama teachers, which is so valuable.
It is, and it is a special, I'm sure the other subject areas have it too, but there is something special about that drama conference because and the way drama teachers are connected, and even the Facebook group, because you are either one or two, and you might be quite a new teacher as well, being put into a classroom. You do need to have that community of drama teachers behind you, supporting you to, just professional development wise, or no, you're not the only one, I think.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's something that, that's teachers supporting teachers. You can't get any, that's what we need. We need to be in communities where we lift each other up and where we support each other and help each other, because sometimes it can feel, when you're face to face all the time, and it can feel very isolating. So it's I think it's so important to pull together and to, share the load, and I think that's really important.
Yeah. Did you ever find as a drama, how did you find yourself as a drama teacher amongst the other teachers? So often because it's a different style of teaching. How was that for you in the school setting, or how has that been in the school setting?
It's funny that you say that, because I was thinking about that this morning. When I was working on the coast, when I sort of first moved out there, I sort of felt like the creative arts teachers were a little bit, they're such a good time, but the kids have fun with them, and I sort of got that feeling towards, like, at the start when I was up there, but towards the end, I felt like my school community and where I was actually quite the opposite. And I really felt that we were valued in our school, and they gave me some wonderful opportunities where I was a mentor, helping teachers in all other KLAs, in all sort of stages of their career. I was involved in leadership meetings, like not as a leader of creative arts or as anything, but as like someone with a voice that is to a collection of principals in the area, in that role. So I think that changed as my career went on. That's a real. You're very modest, Tobi, because I think that is definitely an indication of your leadership and the type of person and the type of teacher you were in that setting, that they could see that, that they went from, seeing creative arts as, oh, that's a bit of fun, to no, there's something serious here, and there's a real pedagogy behind it, and we play hard. It's not easy. So I think that's amazing, Tobi, that you were able to get them to see that what you had to offer beyond just a bit of fun. Yeah, and I think really our skills are so transferable, and I'm finding that out more and more now.
Yeah.
you know, even from the perspective of, you know, just well-being and stuff like that, that empathy that's ingrained in it. We need to know why people behave that way, and why you know, why do students make things hard in the classroom, or why is that student not engaging, or whatever. And so we want to know why, because we want to know the motivations, and we want to know, you know. And I think that curiosity and that willingness to empathize and all that sort of stuff, all that stuff that we have grown up with, because that's what we have always done, has been my greatest strength, I suppose, as a teacher, because without it, I can't see how success can happen, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it's, you know, some of the, I think, new methods of teaching, you know, you can really see the influence of drama pedagogy. I think things like the flipped classroom, you know, about, you know, giving students the voice, and the flipped classroom was like, what do you mean? We do that in drama. We've been doing that in drama since the 50s. It's not new. And what is the way we do it? Yeah.
And I think the approaches too, you know, like that way to engage is, you know, I always think, I could use, you know, for example, at the moment with my COVID groups, that's what they're called, it's a terrible name.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested in brain breaks and drama games, and like I want to make them want to enjoy being there, and I want to be able to get them on their feet and get their brains, you know, resetting and ticking over, and it's just been, my skills as a drama teacher have been so transferable in every part of my career.
Wow. Even the relation, just thinking about some of the other things you've been talking about, it's even that relationship building, because there's so much trust needed in the drama classroom between yourself, but like between a teacher and a student, that relationships are just so essential. You know, you can't actually create a performance piece, in fact, unless the relationships between the students and the teacher are solid, you know, and that it doesn't have to be that we like each other, but we all appreciate what everyone in the group has to bring. And so you really can kind of come together and create something. And even the you know, my essential push in education towards relationships is, I think, you know, reflective of the impact that we have as drama teachers, I think. Tobi's frozen a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, she's satellite internet.
Yes. Yeah. So I think now is a good time to talk about the differences between teaching in the city and teaching out in the rurals. So one of them is satellites, but what other kind of challenges do you have teaching rurally, but as well as, you know, what are the benefits really of teaching out in the country?
I think the first thing that struck me was it's not that I didn't find friendliness anywhere else, but that country friendliness really is, I think, it really does exist. And the other thing that makes me laugh is they want to know where you are and where exactly you are. Or down that road, are you past the Pattersons or are you before, you know, like that kind of thing. And they want to know how you fit in and who else do you know, you know?
Yeah, right.
So there's that community, and you've got to make those kind of connections and go, oh, well, yes, I know, you know, the Smiths on the corner. And so they go, oh, okay, then. And there's that, you know, they need to see where you fit, I suppose, in their community, which is wonderful.
Yes.
And then once you're in, that's, you know, it's very easy. I think I don't think the teaching and the learning is particularly any different. I know that I notice there's a difference in the travel. So kids can spend, and I mean this would happen in Sydney as well.
Yeah.
Kids can spend an hour and a half on a bus.
Yeah, wow.
Both ways, you know, even in primary school.
Where,
and I think that's big.
Yeah.
I know that so many students, especially secondary students, have jobs on the farm that they need to do when they get home. So when they get home, they've got to go and muster the cattle, or they've got to go and feed the animals, or they've got to, you know, fix the fence, or all that stuff. And that can impact their ability to do the homework or to do the study.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Does that then, do the expectations then different from teachers about, you know, does that shift what you actually teach that day? Because you know that, well, not necessarily everyone's going to get that chance to revise or to do an extra bit at home. You know, there's a bit more, I was going to say pressure, but maybe it's more about planning in the day what you actually have to do, because, you know, well, we can't expect, you know, because it's about kind of being really in tune to what's happening in the community, because you can't, you know, the farms need to survive, right? So, you know, you can't just go, well, you've got to do your homework.
Need their kids. What would be the point of that? What would be the point of making a kid feel bad because they had to go home and help dad muster the cattle?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's such a valuable, it's a beautiful thing that a young person is getting in and helping their, that's often their own family business, you know. So it's
absolutely, yeah,
it's more real to them than me saying, finish that paragraph on that essay, please.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And it actually just makes me think about whether we really even need to be more aware of that in the city, because sure city kids don't have a farm that they're going back to, but there are other responsibilities that their family might have. And you know, yeah, anyway, it's just making me think about that.
Well, I suppose, you know, like there's always been you know, the newsagent family that had to get up very early and help mum and dad, you know, like there's no matter where they are, even here. And, you know, my husband has said, hey, I need the boys today. So they've had a day off school because they needed to be helping for him.
Yeah.
And they're at an age where, you know, the two oldest ones are in high school and they are very, very useful to him. And I think, you know, they're doing a lot of learning. And did I freeze again?
You did. You did. But it was great. You know, it's just such a wonderful image, really, of, you know, children and, you know, men helping their fathers or their mothers out and you know, creating something. And as you say, you know, the learning in that, I mean, you can think of the application of math and communication and, you know, all those skills really that they're learning in the day are applied out in that environment.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful, like it's you know, coming from Sydney to life in the country has been a little bit confronting at times, and there's certainly things that I never thought I would see that I have seen, and, you know, there's a lot of change. But I think, death, like there's death, you know, death of animals, right. And you know, and accidents, you know, with animals, and, you know, treating of you know, diseases or eye stuff, or, you know, like all that stuff is,
wow. Yeah. Wow.
you know, beyond my experiences. But I think my kids are really, you know, and they get to growing up.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, one of the things I'm asking all the teachers in this podcast is that I don't think we talk enough about what it takes for us to show up in the classroom every day, to be, you know, real leaders and guiding our future leaders as well. So being leaders in the class, and it takes something, it really does take something to do that every day. And so I wondered if you could talk a bit about the impact teaching has had on your life, you know, both positive and negative, and raising a family, and what does it take for you to kind of show up and be the extraordinary person you are in the classroom?
I think that it sort of fluctuates when you talk about what it takes, because sometimes it feels like it takes too much.
Yes.
And sometimes there's nothing greater than stepping into that classroom.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know there's been times in my career where I've thought, I just don't know if I can do this today.
Yeah.
And I think on those days, it takes having a very supportive family. But most of all, it takes the support of your colleagues and your leadership in your school. You know, if you need to know that someone's got your back.
Yeah.
And you need to have someone that you can ask, especially young teachers or, you know, early career teachers. Sometimes we can feel like if we ask for help, people will think that we're hopeless.
Yeah, right.
And I know from experience that no one ever thinks that when an early career teacher asks for help, because we've all been at a place where things are tough and we've needed help from other people.
Yeah.
And I think that in general, our community, the teaching community, is really, really great at standing with each other and helping each other out. And I think if school communities can embrace that part of it and encourage the collegial sort of attitude, and then schools will be much better places, you know, rather than pitting people against each other and
that's
making things more difficult than they have to be.
Yeah, and kind of brushing over the difficulty sometimes. I think we could be better at teachers as saying, you know, it's actually really tough today and I need some help, and not to gloss over it. Doesn't mean I can't do it every other day, but today I need help, or there's something really big going on. We need to address it as a school or as a community. And rather than, sometimes I think we go a bit Band-Aid options, or sometimes.
And it's a pride thing too. Like, you know, you don't want to broadcast to the world that you're not performing to your best. You know, that takes a lot of courage to ask for that help. And I think a lot of times people think that reflects badly upon them, like they're not coping, or they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I would really like for that kind of thing to be kind of eradicated in schools. I don't see any need or place for it.
No. And on the good days, how's that? What happens on the good days?
Oh, you know, those days, they go so quickly. And you go home and you think, oh, you know, that little boy that never speaks up in class raised his hand today and gave an answer, and you know, that little girl who was struggling with this or that came through today, or we all laughed so hard that we couldn't breathe today, you know. What joy, you know.
Yeah. And
yeah. And they're like, you know, it's easy to turn up on those days, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
or the day after those days, you
Yeah,
go, wow,
that's right. You don't know
I'm making a
that's
difference.
coming.
And then some days you go, what?
Yes. And I think sometimes that reflecting back, you know, you go, oh, yeah, that's right, that. Or, oh, yeah, that student who now I teach with ease, actually, it's taken me a long time to get them there. You know, you can kind of forget how far they've come.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's what we're all in it for, aren't we? We're all here to feel like we're making a difference, like Barbara did for you and I. You know, you want to feel like your students can rely on you as someone who is a stable and positive influence in their life. Because whether or not how much they need it, because whether or not they've experienced that too much before, that's, I feel like that's what makes me feel good, to feel like I'm working as hard as I can to make a maximum impact on the people in front of me, you know?
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tobi. It's been really great to hear about your experience out rurally and regionally and as a drama teacher. I think, incredible work that you're doing out there for the students, and amazing. It's been great to reconnect with you as well in your work.
Yeah, it has been. It's been really great. Thank you for inviting me along.
Yes, we'll have to do another one, I think. Lots more to talk about.
Yeah, true. We could talk for hours.
Yes, we could. Yes. Okay, well, thanks very much, Tobi, and thank you everyone for joining us for another podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.